Hello, everyone. So, remember all the conversations we've had on this channel and on other channels where folks are covering the war in Ukraine, how China and Russia were like BFFs and they were trading information, technology, oil for goods, etc. Yeah. So today this happened. It is confirmed by multiple sources now that Moscow had struck a Chinese cargo ship with a drone just before Putin and Xi were supposed to have a meeting. There's an additional report about Russia's recent attack, including attacks against the port of Odessa, and we know this. Odessa has been getting pummeled because it is a port, and Ukraine's outlet to the Black Sea. So, two civilian vessels were hit there. One was under the Marshall Islands flag, and the other one was under the Guinea-Bissau flag. So, overall, more than 30 people were wounded, and again, this is where it's being basically brought home to everyone. It's not just about Ukraine. Because remember what we said about specifically Ukrainian grain exports, that a large portion of that is humanitarian aid. So Ukraine does not get anything back in exchange for that. It goes to the developing nations, mostly in Africa. Ironically, some of which support Russia and send their people to fight on the Russian side against Ukraine. So, when ships going in and out of Ukrainian ports get hit, it is not just a strike against Ukraine. It is the strike against whoever has those ships, whoever owns them, because they're going to lose their cargo. And sometimes that cargo is life-saving, like food. Of course, leave it to Russia first, fire hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of drones, rain them on the heads of Ukrainian civilians and upon Ukrainian infrastructure, and they say, no, we're ready for the peace talks. Honestly, I don't know why anybody takes them seriously anymore. I don't think they understand what peace and what talks actually means. It's like in the immortal words of Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride. You keep using that word. Are you sure it means what you think it means? Now, we do have a larger summary on the Guardian website. Guardian has been pretty well on top of its game when it comes to covering the war in Ukraine lately, so good for them. I don't always agree with everything they say, and I don't always agree with their headlines, but they do put together a good collection of stories. So, one of the biggest stories also was Ukrainian retaliation for a strike against Kyiv when Ukrainian drones went against Moscow. And this was actually something I asked my parents about yesterday when I talked to them. And they specified to me that Moscow, is not just Russia's capital, but stupidly, Russian government, Russian military, over the years, over the decades, concentrated a lot of military-related enterprises in and around Moscow. We are talking about weapons development, weapons design offices, so engineering firms, testing sites, parts manufacturing, and so on and so forth. Plus, there are tons of military schools and military bases, again, in and around Moscow. In fact, back during the Soviet time, it was considered to be very prestigious to send your child to a military school in Moscow. So all of that is there, and those are all legitimate military targets. And this is where Ukrainian drones come in. Ukraine's general staff released a full list of Ukrainian aerial weaponry that was sent against targets in Moscow. And here's another thing. And again, this is where other countries, other militaries should take notice. If you look up these individual pieces, the bars, the fire points, the gladiators, etc., look at the price tag. And again, I invite you to think not in like the everyday terms, but in what we know about military spending, right? So, for example, the RS-1 BAR jet-powered UAV costs $55,000 per unit. A Firepoint FP1 goes between $50,000 and $58,000 per unit. The Gladiators have a wide range of sizes, so they go between $50,000 and $90,000 per unit. For comparison, folks, remember, in the Gulf, in Iran, US and allied troops were trying to chase after Iranian Shahed drones that are comparable in size, weight, and price with Patriot missiles. A single Patriot missile interceptor costs roughly $4 million each. And there's support packages that can go up as high as $10 million. So compared to that, what Ukrainians have produced is peanuts. And here are the results. So among other strikes, there was the Angstrom plant in Zelenograd in Moscow region. That is the center of the production of high-tech products and microcircuits for high-precision weapons, a lot of which are being used against Ukraine. Also, a group of journalists have been taken to an undisclosed location from which Ukraine had launched the drones, and these people had a chance to see how everything is prepped, how everything is organized, and so on and so forth. And again, impressive. This is impressive, and this is something to be learned. One of the things that hasn't been covered enough, and again, this is relevant to the specifically military technology development, is the recent military exercises that took place between NATO countries and involved Ukraine. The military exercises had to end quickly because Ukrainian side had basically decimated everybody else in record time with what they had. And specifically American representatives who participated in that exercise said that had this been a real war, we would have been screwed. And again, Russia continues its strategy of carpet bombing, and Ukraine basically has no choice but to continue hitting the sources. What did we say in the past? The best drone, the best bomb, the best airplane is the one that never gets launched. Better yet is the one that never gets made. And that is what Ukraine is focusing on right now. Meanwhile, we've had injuries and destruction in the Odessa region, in Dnipro, in my home Zaporizhia region, in Kherson, where a man was killed. And Lithuania, once again, is bringing up the concern that both Russian and Ukrainian drones are crossing over the border, which is understandable. It's understandable why Ukrainian drones are crossing the border, because they are chasing after the Russian drones. Russian drones just need to go away. And strikes continue by Ukraine against military targets, not only in Russia, but also in the occupied areas. Again, pursuing the strategy of making them too hot to hold on to. More to come.